Hi guys, Mark here. Welcome. In this video, we're going to be making a paracord dog leash with the help of a Kumihimo disc. To make the leash, you're going to need 4 cords. I recommend using 2 in one color, 2 in the other. For a 4-foot long leash, your strands should be 20 feet long each. So lengths of 20 feet per cord are going to be able to produce a 4-foot long leash. To add an additional foot of length to your leash, each of your 4 cords is going to have to be 3.5 feet longer. The same logic applies when shortening your leash, so to make your leash a foot shorter, remove 3.5 feet of cord from each of your 4 cords. Besides the cord, we're going to need a single piece of hardware, a snap hook or a carabiner. To form the handle, you're either going to need a lacing needle or some sort of a thread. The disc that I'm using is a regular Kumihimo disc 6 inches in diameter. Scissors as well as a lighter are the final 2 supplies. To begin our work, we're going to set up our disc for braiding. We're going to set up our strands diagonally around the 4 dots on the sides. We take our first cord, fold it in half, place the middle point to the center of the hole, then set up the 2 ends diagonally from the bottom left to the top right. Rotate 90 degrees. Take your second cord, fold it in half, place the middle point to the center again, and set up the 2 ends diagonally, just like before, from the bottom left to the top right. Rotate 90 degrees. Take the third strand, fold it in half, place the middle point to the center again, set up the 2 ends diagonally, so bottom right to top left. Rotate 90 degrees. Take your last strand, fold it in half, place the middle point to the center, set up the 2 ends diagonally, again, from the bottom right to the top left. Since we want to use a piece of hardware, we're going to attach it at this point. I'm going to rotate my disc like this, so that numbers 32 and 1 are at the top. So this is the starting position. I'm going to run these 4 ends through the snap hook. I remove an end, feed it through the snap hook. Then place the end back into the slot. Repeat with the next end. Remove it. Feed it through the snap hook. Back into the slot. Then these two ends as well. So this is our initial setup. We have 4 sets of ends, and we have our disc rotated so that numbers 1 and 32 are at the top. Now for the braiding process. We always start with the top right strand, pass it to the bottom right, here. Then we take the bottom left strand, pass it to the top left, here. Rotate 90 degrees, then simply repeat. Top right, bottom left. Rotate 90 degrees, repeat. Top right, bottom left. Rotate, repeat. Top right, bottom left. Rotate, top right, bottom left. Rotate and keep braiding for quite a while. Simply switching your strands, rotating, switching, and so on. Once in a while, you need to untangle this mess here at the bottom. Then repeat. Top right, bottom left, rotate, top right, bottom left, rotate, After a couple of minutes of braiding, I have a small length of braid to show you. Now the actual braid is not this thick. Once in a while, stretch out your braid. So this is the end result. Now, If at any point you lose your spot here, so you don't know which cords to use next, the top two are the ones last used. So rotate 90 degrees, use the next pair. You can take a break at any point, just put your disc down. When you come back, the top two strands are the last two used, so again, rotate, use the next pair. After a while of braiding, I got a sufficient length of braid for my leash. What you should be aiming at is the length of your leash plus about 10 inches for the handle. So in my case, 4 feet for the leash, 10 inches for the handle, for a total of 4 feet 10 inches. Now, measure out the length of your leash. So in my case, 4 feet. At the 4-foot mark, I'm going to bend my braid, forming a handle. Something like this. Remove your strands out of the disc. Arrange your strands into pairs. Your pairs should have one strand of one color, one of the other. One pair, 2, 3, 4. We continue by working in our 4 pairs of strands into our existing braid, locking our handle into place. So to do this, grab a pair of strands, work them into your braid, going under 2. Take the next pair, work it in under 2 again, just above the previous pair. Take the next pair, again, work it in under 2, above the second pair. The final pair, again, under 2, above the third pair. We want all 4 pairs at about the seam spot in our leash. So these two top ones are at about the same level. I'm going to take this pair a bit further back and tuck it in a bit further up. Let's say under here. The pair furthest back, I'm going to tuck a bit further in. Let's say up to here, so that my 4 pairs are at about the same level here. We're now ready for the decorative knot placed here. We're going to do our tying step by step. For now, take your ends, so your pairs, line them up one next to the other in an alternating color sequence. After lining up our 4 pairs in an alternating color sequence, we're going to continue with step 1. We're going to wrap around our braid 2 times. Keeping our strands lined up, we do our first wrap, then the second one, keeping our strands lined up at all times. We end up with our 4 pairs here on the bottom right. We're going to treat the 16 strands in our wrap as pairs, so we have a total of 8 pairs. In the second step, we're going to weave our 4 pairs through the 8 pairs in our wraparound. We're going to use a sequence of under, over, under, and so on. A total of 4 unders, 4 overs. We take our first pair, we begin under a pair, over a pair, under a pair, over a pair, under a pair, over a pair, under a pair, over a pair on the left. So a total of 4 unders, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and a total of 4 overs, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is our first pair. We now grab the second pair here, and we're going to do the same sequence. So 4 unders, 4 overs. Starting under the previous pair used. So under the previous pair used to weave through. Then parallel to the previous pair in the same sequence as before. So 4 unders, 4 overs. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So if we take a closer look, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 unders, 1, 2, 3, 4 overs. Take the third pair, do the same thing as before. So under the previous pair, so under this one here, used to weave through or wrap around. So under, then parallel to it towards the left. So we went under, we continue over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So again, a total of 4 unders, 4 overs, and we have only 1 pair remaining. Again, we traveled under the previous pair used, so under the third pair here, going parallel to the third pair, so under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So, pretty much the same sequence as before. Four unders, 4 overs. So this is step 2. If you get this setup right, the next 2 steps are going to be super easy. Now for step 3. Remember that we finished our sequences from right to left with an over. So we went under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. We continue by taking one of our pairs, passing under the top pair, then following this pair here on the left all the way to the right. So over here, then under, over, under, over, under and over. So, the first pair in step 3. On the left, I'm going to take this pair under which we just went with our first pair. So, it is finishing here, going over 2 pairs. Then we do the same thing as before. Under the top pair, parallel to the pair on the left all the way to the right. So over, under, and so on. So the second pair in the third step. The next pair, again, is finishing here on the left, going over 2 pairs. Place it under the top pair, and travel parallel to the pair on the left all the way to the right. So over, under, and so on. So the third pair in the third step. The final pair here on the left, again, is finishing its sequence going over 2 pairs. Then we travel under this pair here, which has already been used, so under here, again doubling up the pair on the left all the way to the right, so over, under, and so on. So, we did all 4 pairs in step 3. We are now at the last step, step number 4. On the right are pairs exit over a pair. So over one. Each pair is going to re-enter under two pairs. So under two. Traveling in between these two pairs. So in between, continuing over two pairs, under two pairs, and so on. When you reach the left side, you exit over two pairs. Take the next pair, doesn't matter where you start. Again, we start under two. Over two, under two, and so on. In between these two pairs here. Again, finishing on the left, over two pairs. The next pair, under two pairs. In between these two pairs here, continuing over two pairs, under two pairs, and so on. Finishing on the left, over two pairs. The last pair here, on the right, starts under 2 pairs, then we continue in between these 2 pairs here, over 2 pairs, under 2 pairs, and so on. Again, finishing over 2 on the left. We now have a beautiful looking knot, which we need to finish on the left. To do this, grab a pair and slide it under the knot to the right. We exit over 2 on the left, then immediately under the knot to the right. Do this with all 4 pairs. Over 2 pairs on the left, under the knot to the right. The 3rd pair, again over 2 pairs on the left, under the knot to the right. The last pair, over 2 pairs on the left, under the knot to the right. This finishes your knot. Now, we're going to tighten it up. So you start with strands coming out of your braid here. Into the knot. Run the pairs through the entire knot. Into a pair on the right. Take the next pair, repeat. Again, pulling the slack into one of your pairs. After tightening the knot, trim the ends as close to the knot as possible. Push the ends under the knot a little bit. Roll the knot under a plank to get a nice even lock. We now have a nice looking quality Kumihimo dog leash. The snap hook, the braid, the decorative knot, the handle. So guys, that's our dog leash. I hope I presented all of the aspects clearly enough. I tried my best. Thank you for joining me and see ya next time.